Now we're rolling. Damage Plan MMA podcast. I'm Jason, as always, the voice of MMA in Utah, Mr. Zack Partridge, back for round 5 today.
Oh, it's a good ones though.
I didn't even have a monster today.
That's weird.
That is very weird because I always have a monster on the podcast. We did have some good podcasts on. I'm looking forward. We had the main event for Steel Fist on, Jeremiah Young, half of the main event. Robbie Minor, if you're listening, I messaged you, get on the podcast. But we had Jeremiah.
And anybody
Young.
from Agema, tell Robbie, come on the podcast.
Holla.
Hey, Mr.
Boys.
Main Event, you're a pro, undefeated pro. You got to do some promotion, dog. Get your name out there.
We'll get it out there.
Yeah.
Had AJ Garcia on, Ian Radford on, Jeremiah Young on. Who else do we have on?
Ian's a stud.
I
think more people need to learn from his journey.
I like that was a great interview with him.
But the not sexy Amy record, but he's surrounding himself with good people. He's challenging himself. Now it counts. Taking the right fights. Got a good manager behind him. It's good. That's a good. It's good learning. I think. With one of them. Roadmap. It's a good roadmap.
Yeah. Too many people are
pick and choose easy fights.
I mean,
but people look at Cole Faust, right? Like he's just like, give me anybody.
Just give me anybody. And he takes it. And look where he's at now with
Guys
it too.
that are 25 pounds heavier than him.
Yeah, that was crazy. So we got a fight night card tomorrow, UFC Vegas 39. Short card, there's only 9 fights on the card. There was 10, and I think one got pulled, right? Which whose fight got pulled? I'm losing my train of thought.
Oh, we lost to Chris Curtis and Phil Hawes, and
we lost to Duran Wynn, Phil Hawes, Chris Curtis,
James
Krause. Everybody's in there. Hey, shout out if you were listening. We actually had Chris Curtis coming on. Congratulations on getting the contract in the UFC. So we will be seeing him in the UFC cage finally.
Well, it's so long overdue with him. I mean, first time I watched him, I looked at him and I was like, there are 170ers and 185ers in the UFC that he beats right now. I'm not going to call him out by name, but
you brought up a really good point. You said, because Phil Hawes declined it. Chris Curtis weighed in and he was on point and on weight. Phil Hawes turned the fight down. And you said that's really good reason. Chris Curtis has a ton of experience. Phil Hawes has got, how many fights does he have? 11, 12 fights, I think.
Not a ton.
Not a ton of fights. And you're taking a short notice fight against a guy he's been fight. He's active. He's fought at least 3 times that I know of this year.
Yeah.
And that's a dangerous fight for him to take. And a guy that's hungry. Clearly he's coming in on weight. He's hungry. He's ready. Probably a smart choice.
I think that was wise. I think that was wise for Phil Hawes, because Phil Hawes, he's a beast and he's a freak freak athlete and this and that, and he's getting better. But, I mean, he, Chris Curtis can deal with a heavy wrestler, powerful puncher.
Yeah.
That would have been a tall task for Phil Hawes.
So, yeah. Anyway,
I wonder what the betting odds would have been. That's what I'm actually really interested in. What would the betting odds would have been for Chris Curtis?
Phil Hawes. Bet you it probably would have been 2-1. Hawes probably would have been.
I was going to say like 240 to 250 for Phil Hawes.
Yeah, maybe
I would have hammered Chris Curtis.
Oh yeah. You degenerate.
Hammered it. Bet the house.
Oh, man, bet the house.
I'm not betting the house. Hillary, babe, I'm not betting the house. We're not betting houses here.
No house.
Just cars.
What else? Should we break this card down? We're going to talk about some weight cut stuff here in a minute, because there's somebody that missed weight by 4.5 pounds again.
Come on, dog.
Second week in a row, you have somebody missing weight by 4+ pounds. All right, first fight of the night in the lightweight division. We have Charles Ontiveros, the American bad boy, against Steve Garcia, Mean Machine. Ontiveros is 11-7. He stands 6'2" with a 76-inch reach. Steve Mean Machine Garcia, 11-4. He stands 6 foot tall with a 73-inch reach. Both these guys coming off of losses. Garcia lost to Luis Pena about 1.5 years ago, and then we saw Ontiveros against Kevin Holland about a year ago too.
Yeah, he hurt his neck on a slam.
On a slam, yeah, that was weird.
That was a short notice fight for Ontiveros too.
I read something, and I had done my research, but I read something this morning that somebody saw out of his 18 fights, there was at least 3 that he verbally submitted on, because he verbally submitted on that fight with Holland. And it was probably a legit submission.
He was
legit, but somebody said there was 2 to 3 other fights that he verbally submitted on. Is that cause for, does that raise a red flag to you at all? I mean, it kind of does for me a little bit.
Oh, 100%. Mainly because and I'm just looking up here. Mainly because like I can't understand that as a fighter. Like in my competitive nature, I don't understand. I mean, I went down and got some training with Cole Schaefer and his coach Nanad last night, and you know they put you in some pretty just compromising positions that don't feel good, and it never even crosses my mind to be like, this sucks, just tap, just like, and start the round over.
Yeah,
like I don't, and even in a fight, even if I was injured, like even if I knew something was broke or whatever, I still think I'd have to have somebody say, no, you're done. A ref, a coach, or whatever say, no, you're done. I mean, I've talked about it with my coaches. I said, I swear, if you guys ever stop a fight on me, I appreciate it. You'll never corner me again.
That's kind of rude. Just we'll change to where journalists can. No, I don't think that's going to change.
Well, here. That's actually that's an interesting. You can have the doghouse. Thanks, appreciate it, babe. Here, pull that back up because that's actually really interesting. So here's the deal: Dana controls who's in that presser, right?
Yes.
So if they start going at him too hard to the point where he takes it as disrespectful, he says, "Hey, cool, see you later," and you get the Arrow Hawani treatment.
Yep.
Right.
And you know how that's gone.
So it's kind of a unique. Oh, you know why? I'm like, I can't even see my eyes. You know what?
You got to put the light. You got to get the light. Yeah.
Light.
Yeah.
So here's the interesting thing with that is Dana kind of controls that room, right? But well, it should change. Here's the problem, Bruce, where you're not totally wrong. Dana's not going anywhere. And the UFC, because of Dana, isn't going anywhere. And there's too many people that don't like Dana and give him that don't give him enough credit for what he's built. He's turned a company that was worth $2 million and on its way to bankruptcy to a 4.2 profitable business that's pretty much blown up an entire sport.
Yeah.
And Dana's been at the head of that. And he's been the one that's calling the shots, making tough decisions. Hurts a lot of people's feelings sometimes. Not everybody agrees with him. Not everybody likes him. But at the end of the day, he's the face of the UFC. Not one single fighter. John Jones is the greatest fighter ever. Guess what? Fight with Adam. Conor McGregor's kind of going nuts right now. Whatever. You just push him off to the side. No big deal. GSP's come and gone. Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, on and on and on. Anderson Silva, on and on and on. Fighters come and go. Dana's the consistent. Dana's the reason why MMA is blowing up and being one of the most popular sports in the world right now.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to say, you know, like it. I mean, I'm more of a Dana fan than I think a lot, but and I definitely get how he rubs some people the wrong way. But then there's just the side of it is, I don't think we in the general public, maybe I give him a pass on some things because I don't think we totally understand how stressful his job is. I mean, it's so hard. I mean, Bruce, I don't know what you do for a living, sir, but I guarantee somebody from the outside looking in, thinking that they can do their job better than you, that would be foolish. Just like I think that with Jason, I think that people who think they can do my job better than me, I think it's foolish to think that the people that have all the details, right?
Yeah.
It's why it's so hard to believe everything the media says, because even when they run with stories, they probably don't have all the details, right?
Yep.
They just have the one side of the story or part of one side of a story. So be careful when you're saying, you know, calling Dana a tyrant and this and that, because the people that are calling Dana a tyrant are usually the people that just only have one side of the story. And if you did things the way that they wanted it did and not the way Dana did it, there's probably a very little chance that the UFC and MMA would be a mainstream sport here in America today. So I get what you're saying, and I don't think you're totally wrong on it, but at the same time too, well, I'd be interested. What questions would you like Dana to answer? Because I haven't really seen him not answer anything either.
I think he's usually pretty straightforward, but he, like you said, he does kind of control the room on who gets in. And
of course he does,
but
as he should.
Yeah,
I think it's his company.
That's
right.
That's business.
NBA players do it.
Yeah.
NFL players do it. They sit there and be like, "I'm not answering your questions. Go away."
Yeah, they do it all the time.
All
right, let's get back to this fight.
Okay.
Steve Garcia, he's a huge favorite in this. Minus 335. The comeback is plus 260. Man, I actually was thinking about sprinkling a little on Ontiveros, but after I read that thing, I don't think I like it anymore. I think Garcia mops him.
Yeah, I agree. I am all in on
all in.
Well, not all in, but like Ontiveros to me is a guy. Once I see, I think he has the physical tools. I don't know if up here he has the tools.
I agree.
And I'll just I think Steve Garcia wins this fight. Too much juice to lay though. I'm not laying.
I wouldn't lay minus
300.
Not on that fight.
Nope.
Next up we have in the strawweight division, we have Lupita Godinez, Lupe against Silviana Gomez Juarez La Mavara. Lupe is 5-1. She stands 5'2" with a 61-inch reach. Gomez is 10-2. She stands 5'3" with a 63-inch reach. So Lupe was actually scheduled to fight Sam Hughes. Sam Hughes ended up having to pull out. So Juarez is jumping in on short notice to take this fight. And minus 280 for Godinez, and a comeback is plus 225.
I like Lupe a lot in this fight.
I love Lupe. I will say this. I did watch Silvana's last fight. She's a stand-up girl. So is Lupe. I don't see this fight going the distance. There was one thing that I noticed that stood out to me, and I don't know if it's going to be a factor, but I felt like, and maybe it was just the fight, how the fight was playing out, but I felt like Lupe was a little heavy on her lead leg. And Silvana had some nasty leg kicks in her last fight. She pretty much finished the girl with leg kicks in the last fight. So I still like Lupe. She's the better overall fighter.
Yeah, and she's fought the better competition. You would say
she's a bulldog. She lost a split decision to Jessica Penney.
I mean, you would say that Gomez Juarez would be the more experienced fighter. You would think that being 10-2 versus 6-1 or 5-1.
Yeah, 5-1. Yeah.
You would be wrong because Lupe actually had a pretty extensive amateur career as well, beating the likes of Sam Hughes as an amateur.
Yep.
I mean, it was a split decision. She was one judge away from still being undefeated pro.
And she looked good
in the UFC. LFA, coming from LFA, she's fought the tougher competition overall in her career. I think Lupe actually just dominates this fight.
I actually think she finishes her.
Yeah.
Next up in the featherweight division, we have Charles Rosa versus Damon Jackson. Boston Strong is 14-5, stands 5'9" with a 69-inch reach. The Leech, 18-4-1. He stands 5'11" with a 73-inch reach. Who do you like in this one, Mr. Partridge?
So I don't know I haven't looked at the odds on this, and I would imagine it's pretty close. But I think I think Charles Rosa's in for a rough night here. He fancies himself as a grappler, and he likes to grapple.
Yeah.
And I think Leech is a better grappler. And remember when Rosa said that he was going to prove to Bryce Mitchell that he was the better grappler, and then just got ragdolled on the mat for 15 minutes?
Yep.
Couldn't submit him, but got controlled for 15 minutes. I think there's a very good chance that Leech does the same thing to him here. And, he is 2-3 in his, he is 2-2 in his last 4 fights in the UFC, but his 2 wins come via split decision.
Yeah.
I don't love that. And I actually just think Damon Jackson, the Leech, is on a different level. And I actually think he does at the finish.
I mean, he's coming off a loss, but look at who his losses to.
Eli
Topuria, who's just a savage. I got my highlights on here. The Leech, he's a Fortis MMA guy. I think he's the better off fighter. So I think he ends up getting it done. And I think you're going to see a finish in this fight as well.
I think you're going to get – I go Jackson by submission.
I like it.
Second round.
All right. Next up, we have in the heavyweight division, Alexander Romanoff versus Jared Vandervera. King Kong is 14-0, stands 6'2" with a 75-inch reach. The Mountain is 12-5. He stands 6'4" with an 80-inch reach. Two big heavyweights. Romanoff is a huge favorite, minus 675. They come back plus 475.
I mean, I almost want to take Vandervera just for the value. Heavyweight, like one long punch. But, I mean, Romanoff can't beat that. And here's the other thing. I will say this. I'm not going to pick Vandervera because when he fought the last time he fought like a big heavy wrestler, grappler, speedback, he got controlled.
Yep.
But he did point it out on his TikTok, and I followed Jared on TikTok. And if you don't, you should, because he's actually pretty entertaining. He threw leg kicks in that fight. Speedball caught the kicks, and that's how he got the takedowns. But his actual takedown defense is pretty good. Like, you know, he's got good hips, and he's a good martial artist overall. And he might actually have the more skills. But Romanoff's such a big man and such a powerful wrestler, and we know that wrestling dictates a lot of things. That's why he's such a heavy favorite. I would stay away from this fight. Here's the thing for me that makes me pump the brakes on Romanoff. I think he was losing his fight to Juan Espinosa.
Oh, 100% he was losing that fight. Espinino. Yeah.
Big Juan. El Guapo. He was so gassed by the third round. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
And Jared Vandervera, I've seen him go 3 rounds, and he's got a gas tank to do it.
Yeah.
I think there's a chance. The longer this fight goes, the more that Vandervera will have a chance.
I don't hate it. I'm
not picking him.
I'm not picking him, but
I urge massive caution.
Might be a little sprinkle there. Depends on how my baseball bets do today.
Degenerate.
Hey, they're going good right now.
Yes, sir.
All right, next up in the bantamweight division, Chris Gutierrez against Felipe Kolaris. Gutierrez is 16-3-2, stands 5'9" with a 67-inch reach. Kolaris is 10-2. He stands 5'8" with a 69.5-inch reach. I will tell you right now that I love Chris Curtis.
We love
Chris Curtis too. Chris Gutierrez in this stuff, dude. I think he's the one thing about Kolaris that I like that I don't really like, but you gotta love. The guy can take a shot.
Yeah.
Like he can take some punishment, probably too much punishment. But if Gutierrez starts using those leg kicks like he did against Spence Morales,
I don't care how tough you are. You start going off on those leg kicks, you just can't stand.
Yeah, I think Gutierrez is just a better all-around fighter. Odds are saying that it's minus 260. The comeback is plus 215. I don't know about you, but I like Gutierrez.
Yeah, all in on Gutierrez. We're in agreement. Still.
Next up was supposed to be Phil Hawes and Deron Winn. Deron Winn ended up pulling out. We talked about that a little bit.
Phil Hawes would have killed it.
We think Phil Hawes was winning that pretty easy. This actually is a really good fight in the women's flyweight division. You have Mariah Agapova against Sabina Mazzo, the Colombian queen. Agapova is 9-2. She stands 5'6" with a 68-inch reach. And Mazzo is 9-2 as well. She stands 5'7" with a 70-inch reach. This should be a really good fight. They're both stand-up fighters. Agapova, she came in and she just lost to Shauna Dobson. Maybe a little too much too soon. I don't know.
Man, I actually think this is going to be
a great fight.
Two girls that'll stand and bang.
I'm going Agapova in this one. I'm taking the underdog plus 150.
I think Agapova being the underdog in this fight is a great spot for an underdog pick, and she has the tools to get the win in this fight.
The one thing that I noticed, I thought Mazzo's stand-up, she was a little slow. I don't think her punches were coming as fast. I think Agapova is going to be quicker, and I think she's going to end up dominating her on the feet. I actually don't see a finish in this one. I think it will go to a decision, so I am taking the dog. I already locked that one in. Maria Agapova by decision. All right. we'll just keep going since Zack has to go to the bathroom, and we'll go to the next fight of the night. Short card, only 3 more fights to break down, so this is a quick one today. In the flyweight division, men's flyweight division, we got Tim Elliott versus Matthias Nikolao. Tim Elliott, 17-11-1. He stands 5'7" with a 67-inch reach. Nikolao, 16-2-1. He stands 5'6" with a 66-inch reach. Tim Elliott is a Glory MMA guy. James Krause is going to be in his corner. I think I know where you're going with this one.
Since we've started this podcast, how many times have I picked against Tim Elliott?
None.
Not starting today.
Plus 170.
Tim Elliott's plus 170?
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
So I've watched.
Get on that.
I mean, he's on a 2-fight win streak.
Love it.
Nikolao's getting a lot of love, and I don't know. I love that Tim Elliott's training with James Krause now.
Full time for a couple camps now.
Yeah, I like that. I think he's in a great spot. I think a lot of people do.
Here's the thing. This is what I keep going back to Tim Elliott. When you pick fighters, unless you know something's like not great in their personal life,
Yeah.
you kind of have to expect them to be the best version of themselves, right?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? He gave Demetrius Johnson all he could handle when he fought Demetrius Johnson after winning the Ultimate Fighter. So when he's at his best, he can hang with the best.
Yep.
And I've seen it. And sometimes he underperforms, and I think that's cost him, and it's why he hasn't gone back to that point. It's because it's kind of like 3 steps forward, 3 steps back. Like he can't ever just like break all the way through. But his experience I think is going to be really tough for Nikolao, and I think Tim Elliott. I think he gets the win. And I like the way he used his last fight. He used his wrestling, and he just dominated.
Oh, he dominated that last fight.
Dominated.
He was out for blood that last fight. So we're both on Elliott on that one.
Yes.
We're not. I don't think we're disagreeing on much this fight card, honestly. Next up in the welterweight division, we got Randy Brown against Jared Gooden. Randy Brown, 13-4. He stands 6'3" with a 78-inch reach. Gooden is 18-6. He stands 6 foot tall with a 77-inch reach. Note that was it Gooden that weighed in?
Gooden missed weight.
Gooden missed weight by 4 pounds. Wow.
Weighed in at 174, so technically 3 pounds. Can weigh 171.
Because not a championship fight, right?
So here's the deal. That's unprofessional. He knew what the weight class was. That's the weight class he fought at. It's like, this isn't the amateurs.
It's 24 fights.
Here's the other thing that sucks. Randy Brown brought this up. This guy, it's only his 4th fight in the UFC. He's only making $15,000 to fight.
Yeah.
So he only gets $15,000 of his purse. 20% of $15,000. That's $3,000 to miss weight. Well, missing weight is an advantage. So he says, I get an extra $3,000 that could cost somebody like Randy Brown probably potentially another $15,000 to $20,000, depending on the contract he's on.
Yep.
You know what? I think it's time for the UFC and the commissions. I think it's time for them to dig him a little harder than 20%.
What do you think about Aspen Ladd getting a main event slot after missing weight so badly last week?
I think it is ill-advised.
I will say it is a weight class up, though. It's not at the same weight class,
that's
so
probably why it's happening.
Maybe it's maybe that's why she's getting it, is because it's at 145 instead of 135. But
I think it sets a bad precedent.
It sets a very bad precedent. I don't think you could say, "Oh, miss weight," and then in 2 or 3 weeks you're going to get you're going to get a main event fight. Like, what? Okay. So I'm all in on Randy Brown on this one. I don't. The guy's missing weight by 4 pounds. I just don't think he's invested. I don't think he wants to put in the work.
Yeah, it's tough, but I think 50%. I think 50% of your purse.
Yeah,
make it hurt. Too. Make it really hurt. I don't know about you, but if my paycheck goes from $15,000 to $12,000, it sucks. But it's like I still got $12,000 in my pocket. But if it goes from $15,000 to $7,500, it's like oof. After I have to pay my coaches and stuff, that hurts.
What if they just drop out though the fight? Could you get fighters that just say, "All right, well, I'm just not taking the fight then"?
Take zero money.
Then they get booted, I guess.
Yeah.
They need to do something because it's not fair. You're a professional. Like Chris Curtis came in on an hour notice and went in and made weight.
If you're a professional fighter, this is what I think. If you're a professional fighter, you should be and this is what you're doing for your career, right? We have pros that have other jobs, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're a professional fighter and this is what you're going to do from your career, I think that you should always be within a week or two of being able to make weight.
Yeah.
If you ever get offered a fight 2 weeks out or more, if it's a good opportunity, if you're a professional, you should be living like a professional and you should be able to make weight.
Yep. Act like a pro.
I'm an amateur, so I don't have to do that.
No. But you still make weight. All right. Main event. We got Marina Rodriguez. Against, and this is in the strawweight division. Marina Rodriguez against Mackenzie Dern. Rodriguez is 14-1-2. She stands 5'6" with a 65-inch reach. Mackenzie Dern is 11-1. She stands 5'4" with a 63-inch reach. Pretty sure we're going to agree on this one too.
I went back and forth on this one though, because Rodriguez holds a win over the person that's beaten Dern. But we also know that MMA math doesn't really work.
No.
Here's the other thing that I'm really excited about. Dern's gotten better and shown that she's gotten better every single fight. And then ultimately, one thing that I love to look at is who has the more dominant skill set. And there are not very many women that has a more dominant skill set than Mackenzie Dern on the ground. Because I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Rose Namajunas, Weili Zhang, or Joanna Jojastic. If Mackenzie Dern gets them on the ground and she has 2 to 3 minutes left in the round, she's submitting them. She's elite. And one more time, elite on the ground.
So Vegas is all in on this fight not going the distance. Fight goes the distance is plus 245. When was the last time you seen that in a women's fight? Plus 245 to not go the distance?
Crazy.
You never see that. Mackenzie Dern by submission plus 100, by TKO KO plus 1200.
No, Rodriguez is either going to knock out Dern or Dern's going to submit her.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
Yep.
Vegas is saying it. That's what I think is going to happen. And I think Mackenzie Dern submits her before she gets knocked out.
I agree.
So we just went 9 fights, nine fights, and we agreed on every single one.
Yep.
That's boring.
Nobody's getting punched in the stomach this week.
Yeah, but Monday, tune in because Cole Fast is going to be here in studio and punching me right in the stomach. So you guys can tune in for that.
DraftKings.
I got a nice little DraftKings lineup. And the other nice thing is we don't have to disagree on this one at all.
Yes. I'm going to get my handy dandy notebook.
I would be interested to know how many people, one, ever follow this, or two, if you guys think that you could beat me in a lineup and if we should start doing a damage plan contest on DraftKings where we all get in a group and put in $5 and a winner takes all on the best lineup type thing. That might be fun. I don't know. People, when I get out of Facebook jail, I'll make a post and let everybody know. So I actually really love this lineup.
Okay, let's get it.
So first and foremost, we'll start with our underdogs, as we all know. And I'm going with Tim Elliott. And I'm going with Agapova. Get 2 nice underdogs there. And then a coin flip one is Mackenzie Dern.
Okay.
Damon Jackson.
I like that.
Leroy Randy Brown.
Brown.
And then we're going to top it off with our most expensive one, Chris Gutierrez at 8,900. There's a lot of value in this DraftKings. And everybody that I picked, I don't really see being able to get finished by the other person, which is a big.
So score some points.
Should at least score points if we don't pick it right. But, you know, we're trying to pick right and win big. If anybody would like to challenge me, DraftKings lineup, do it. Message me. We'll take your money.
We'll have to get it started.
That'd be fun.
We'll have to start a little group.
That'll be fun. But
All
we're
right.
going to have to cut this one a little short. We had a lot of podcasts today. Some of us have a day job too. And I got to go train to get ready for a fight in 2 weeks.
See you guys on Monday for the breakdown.
Go Braves!
We out. Let's go Braves. Come on. It's nothing. Top 7. Come on, baby.
Let's go Braves.
Come on, baby.